Sports fans, PVNC Sport. I've always loved them. Dalton Schultz, a tight end. But on the other side of the ball, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, the front four, right? Other than that, it's Daryl Stanley or Derek Stanley, and then CJ Gardner Johnson. So Houston, to me, has regressed in the roster as well, not only talent wise last year, but play wise,
Yeah.
but the roster. So what
Yeah.
do you think? Let's go through the schedule. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we did the NFC South in our last one, and I said, here's a division where the division winner could basically be under 500, right? And when I look at this division, I see a lot of teams under 500, considerably under 500. Um,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I think here's another division where Houston could win this thing easily if they go 8-9. I do have them at 9-8 though. And by the way, the Vegas under over on this is 9.5. So it's kind of right in line with where I'm at. I don't see this team getting the 10 wins with the schedule they have. Because they do have a first place schedule, I believe, right? But I got them at 9-8. And to your point, I did not like the regression of CJ Stroud in his sophomore year last year. That
Totally
was
agree. Totally agree. Ohio State
that,
quarterback, as we like to say.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know what version of that we're going to get this year. And as I look at the schedule, I mean, opening up at the Rams, it's a tough opening week, right? And then you got to come back and play a tough Tampa team and go on the road in a divisional game. So this team could be facing an 0-3 out of the gate, maybe 1-2. I think they can go in those three games. And then Tennessee at home, they should win, but at Baltimore, at Seattle, San Francisco in back-to-back weeks, that could be a tough stretch for them. And then of course later in the year they got to play Buffalo and they got to play at Kansas City. So
Week
and at the
12 and week
Rams.
14, right? So that I mean, in between they go to Indy in week 13. They could go on a 3-game losing streak easily right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, all this whole division, I got none of them beating the Rams, none of them beating Buffalo, none of them beating Baltimore, none of them beating the Chargers, none of them beating Kansas City.
Yeah. I mean, this, like you said, this team could do it. So what do you got? I mean, you still have Houston winning the division, probably, right?
I do barely at 9-8, not barely because the other teams I have not even close, but 9-8. I'm
Yeah.
with you on 9-8.
I have them at 9-8 too. Hey, interesting story too. Interesting fact. The NFC South that we did, they had 9.5 win total was for Tampa. The next team was 7.5. And then they had, no, I'm sorry. The next team was, yeah, 7.5. Then they had a 6.5 and a 5.5. This division's pretty much the same in terms of under overs when you
Okay.
look at it. So both us and Vegas are not high on these two divisions.
No, no. Let's go to Indianapolis, who maybe could be considered the second favorite in this division. I don't know.
I yeah, I
By
haven't.
the way, they have one of my top three, at least five, but top three draft picks in tight end Tyler Warren. You know I love that kid. Huge acquisition for them. That'll help who I believe will be the starting quarterback eventually, Danielle Jones. So let's talk about first of all their roster. It's a decent roster. You got Jonathan Taylor running back, Michael Pittman a wide receiver, Alex Pierce is okay at wide receiver. Defense doesn't scare anybody other than the front four with DeForest Buckner and Lieto Latu, I believe is how you say it, the kid from USC last year. If they had a better defense, this team could be better, but they have no one else after that front four, in my opinion.
Yeah, that they could struggle, which might mean that the offense is constantly in a position where they have to play catch up, which then takes away from the effectiveness of the run game, and things start to spiral downhill at that point, usually, right? Um, the thing is, this team outside of their divisional games on the road this year, they have to play at the Rams, at the Chargers, at Pittsburgh, at Kansas City, at Seattle. I mean, those are all losses in my opinion.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and then when you're at home, you still got to play San Francisco. You still have to
They
play
open with Miami.
Denver, and you still have to play Miami. I mean,
Yep.
those are three losable games there. And then maybe they find out a way to split some of those up, the rest of the games that are on the slate. I got them as a 5-win team, believe it or not, tied for second place in the division at 5-12.
Wow, you're unless I got them six. I got losing Miami, Rams, Chargers, KC, San Francisco, Houston. Those are my definite losses. My toss-ups are Denver. They're going to split with the Titans. Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Jacksonville, and then Seattle. and they'll split with Jacksonville. They'll lose to Seattle. They'll lose at home against Atlanta, and they'll lose the road game, the home game at Denver. So that's where they go 6-11.
Okay, we're kind of right there. So only off by a game. The
Yeah.
Vegas
And by the way, that the one game that they could lose to be 5-12 is at Pittsburgh, which you probably have them at losing.
Yeah, yeah, and Vegas is at 7.5 on this, so we're both considerably under by 2.5 games.
That means 8 wins.
They have to win 8 games for you to lose that bet. I mean, I like that under.
I don't see that at all. Do you?
Yeah.
No way.
I love that under. I mean, like I said, if we're off by, usually we're off by a game, a half game, or a game, right? If we're off by 2.5, that to me spells bet. So I like the under on that one for sure.
Totally with you. All right, let's go to Jacksonville, the Sunshine Redemption Tour. I love Trevor Lawrence to death. I don't see him turning it around this year, mostly because the roster is not that great. And I don't see Travis Hunter as an upside. I know there's a lot of hope on Travis Hunter at wide receiver. I'm not sold on that. Other than that, there's the only other pick they drafted that I think will start maybe is this kid Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame. So they didn't really help themselves in the draft. Their roster, other than that, Travis Etienne, a wide receiver, running back, wide receiver Brian Thomas, I knew you're high on him. There's not a lot around him. After that defense, Josh Hines-Allen, maybe, Eric Armstead on defensive line, Devin Lloyd. There's not any name players there, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brian Thomas Jr. showed himself in his rookie year that he can be that alpha. I mean,
you were high on him. You were very high on him from day one. Yes.
Yeah, and I think if you look at him and Malik Neighbors, who by the way were teammates in colleges, in college, right? That they were the 2 rookies last year who I think easily emerged as what can be alphas on their team. Now, with Neighbors, they didn't really. There's no one else really there that can compete for that alpha spot. I mean, it's just basically Neighbors and then everybody else.
Right.
In Jacksonville, though, depending on Travis Hunter's role, you drafted that guy high enough that he could be that next, alpha that comes in. So it's interesting to see where Brian Thomas Jr. is going to fall in terms of targets and target share compared to last year. Now with Travis Hunter there, that's the only thing I'm concerned about. But I still think he's a stud wide receiver.
Picture this: if Travis Hunter wants to be a full-time, 2-time player, he will never be an All-Pro at any position. In the NFL, you have to focus at one side of the ball or the other. I'm sorry, Travis. I know you think you're all world on both sides. You're not. Okay, you're an average player at best, in my opinion. You played on a par team in college, and you were an above-average player. So no, you're not going to be an All-Pro at both positions. Sorry, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think Brian Thomas Jr. firing above is the alpha on that team.
Yeah. Oh, totally, totally, Peter, totally.
But you know what? And again, I don't see how Vegas has his line at 7.5. That means this team would also have to win 8 games, and I can't find 8 wins on this schedule. And
go through your prediction. What do you think?
I actually only have them at 4-13.
You got them at 4-13. Wow.
I have them behind Indy. I have actually Tennessee. You'll see in a minute. And tied with Indy, and I have Jacksonville finishing last in that division. And part of that is the strength of schedule. I mean, you have to play let's look at their
at Cincy, at San Fran, first 2 out of 4 games, right?
Right, and they got to play in Denver
in week 5.
Seattle, Rams, Chargers, at Arizona is going to be tough.
Yep.
I mean,
at Denver later in the season.
I know. I mean, if this team can somehow go 3-3 in the division, which I don't think they do, I think they go 2-4 probably in their division. So where am I going to find 2 wins outside of that? Maybe they win opening up against Carolina, and maybe they win later against the Jets. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the rest of the division being that good that they can't split. So I got them no worse than 3-3 in the division at the end of the day. No worse.
Okay.
And by the way, I mean, I can't put them ahead of Indy because I think Trevor Lawrence is much better than anybody in the quarterback room in Indy at the end of the day. So I got them 6-11.
Okay. All right.
Same. So that's where I got them at. And I know Colts are 6-11, but I'm not so sure Colts will be 6-11. I guess Colts might slide to 5-12. I believe in Sunshine more than I do in Danielle Jones. I want to call him Danielle. And Anthony Richardson, who I think is the biggest flop at the quarterback position the last 3 years.
Yeah, yep. I would agree with that. I think Daniel Jones could win that job in Indy.
Oh, I think so. And if he does early on, then they get those 6 wins.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Tennessee with your boy, your quarterback, number 16 is a starting quarterback out there. Obviously, the pick of the picks in the draft for the Tennessee Titans. Other than that, their drafts were so-so. Kevin Winston, the safety, I think, out of Notre Dame, maybe, or how's that? I forget. That's the only other guy I was impressed by. So they didn't do a lot to improve their roster other than the quarterback. They got Tony Paul as the running back. He's a number 2 in my opinion, but he's going to be their number 1. Calvin Ridley's a stud. Tyler Lockett can be solid, right? Treylon Burks, we don't know what we're going to see out of him. He's never lived up to his draft pick, correct?
Uh-huh.
So
yeah.
Their offensive line, I mean, that receiving room, so they do have a good offensive line. I will give them that. I like Skoronski, the guard, Zittler, the other guard, Latham, the tackle. So they got a decent line. And then the defense. So I went through this when I'm looking at, we're going through it, getting ready for our show, and I go, no one jumps off the page. Maybe Jadavius Sneed at cornerback or Xavier Woods at safety, but in the front 7, no one jumps off the page. Do you see anybody?
No, I'm right there with you. The only thing I don't agree with is Pollard. I think Tajay Spears could emerge as the lead back on that.
Well, there you go. So I mean, I got Paul as a number 2, so there you go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Paul is a number 2 running back on any team in the NFL. So there you go. There's your number 1. All right. I like it. All right. Give me your schedule.
Believe it or not, I have this team finishing ahead of Jacksonville, tied with Indy for second, but at a 5-12 record. Now, out of the Vegas lines, Houston was 9.5. Jacksonville and Indy were both 7.5, which I think is way too high. I don't think they can get there. Tennessee's 5.5, which is an interesting line. That kind of is more in line with where I think they should be. I got them just under that though at 5-12 because again, I'm trying to find wins on the schedule. When you open up at Denver, then you got to play the Rams at home. That's an easy 0-2 start. You might be able to beat Indy, but then you got to play 3 straight road games after that at Houston, at Arizona, at Vegas, and then you're going to welcome a New England team who we know is much improved. So I don't see a lot of wins in that first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. I see them going 1-6, maybe if they're lucky 2-5, if they're lucky, and then after that.
By the way, PB, I got them going 1-7. I got them losing Denver at home, away. Rams in week 2, at Houston, at Arizona. Believe it or not, I got them losing New England. I got them losing at Indy. I'm sorry, not 1-8 because I got them beating Vegas, barely. And then losing at Chargers. So in their first 9 games, I've only got them winning like 1 game.
Yeah, right. And then it's no bargain. You still got to play Seattle at home, at Cleveland, at San Francisco, outside the division, at San Francisco, Kansas City in back-to-back weeks.
Saints? They got Saints in week 17?
Yeah. I don't know. My 5-12 might be giving them an extra.
5-12, they got to win the last game against Jacksonville, and I got that as a loss at Jacksonville.
Right. Okay. So what do you got them at? 4-13?
I got a 4-13.
Yeah. Okay.
And by the way, Cleveland or New England makes up, I got to win in both of those. And if they lose to Seattle, which they could easily do, they're 3-14.
Yeah.
This is a team that will be battling for at least a 1, 2, or 3 this year in the draft.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see how Cam Ward does on that team. And I mean, here's a guy who
I feel bad for him on this roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. And also, he's kind of gotten a bad rap, I think, because of the quarterback class this year, because the class in general was not a good class. And he was taken number 1 overall in a bad quarterback class. So he's not really looked at as that guy that's coming out. Like Caleb Williams was looked at as an example the year before, right? With that unbelievable class with Bo Nix and Drake May and everybody else that was part of that.
But you know what? I'll tell you this. If I had equal rosters and to win one game, Caleb Williams against Cam Ward, I got Cam Ward all day with equal roster against equal roster because I think Caleb Williams is too much of a wild card gunslinger. Cam Ward he plays true to the vest. At the end of the day, yeah, he takes some shots, but he doesn't make stupid mistakes. I think Caleb Williams makes stupid mistakes. So if you ask me, I'd rather have Cam Ward than Caleb Williams. Sorry.
All right. All right. Unfortunately, the rosters aren't equal, so we can't really.
No. By the way, we'll talk about that next week. We'll go NFC North. We'll talk about Caleb Williams next week. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good to me, man.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you.
There you have it. See you.